from the Improv in Hollywood, it's the Nighttime Show. I'm Mike Black, the voice of the Nighttime Show. With us, as always, our head writer, Matt Walker, our special guest star of the iconic film Clueless, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and Beverly Hills 90210, Elisa Donovan. And now, our host who lives in a totally different zip code, Stephen Kramer Glickman.
That's right, 90046, I believe. 64. How are ya? Hey, Elisa, how are you? Thank you so much for doing the show.
Oh, you're so welcome. I really like the enthusiasm.
Oh,
a lot of high energy.
We're very enthusiastic about you. We're very big. We're all big fans of you.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
For a lot of different reasons. I mean, I think, it's easy to say Clueless is like one of the fucking greatest movies of all time and very iconic. And but you've done so much cool stuff and have worked on all sorts of amazing things. How did you get started in this whole friggin' business? How did this begin for you?
I did a play when I was 7 in the first grade. And I became obsessed with my character and getting the clothing right. And my mom was like, what? This is first grade. No one cares. Nobody. And she
I already love your mom. Nobody cares.
And I played a man. I played Ralph Rotten. So I was the bad guy.
That is a fantastic name.
Westward ho ho ho, not westward ho, but ho ho ho. And at any rate, I wanted to wear like a black button up because it should be black because he's the bad guy.
Right.
And they don't make black button down shirts for 7-year-old children. It's certainly not in the 70s. Yeah, so we had a diet, and then it came out gray, and I was inconsolable, and my mom again was like, look, no one cares. And but I really did, and I didn't realize that you could, that there were people who did this for a living, right, at the time.
Sure.
I just thought, this is incredibly fun, being another person. And then I started taking classes and things maybe in 7th grade, I want to say.
Man, I love the idea, though.
That's when I knew.
Of 7-year-old you going, my character would never wear this color.
Yes, that's exactly what it was like.
You were already method.
I was like, where's my 10-gallon hat? This isn't 10 gallons. This is really 2. Yeah. So
I have done my research.
Exactly.
Ralph Rotten would never wear this.
That was it. Yeah, he would never. I had a big mustache. It was really something else. And my mom said, well, everybody was kind of bumping into each other, but you were really twisting your mustache, and you were just really in it to win it.
I love it. So how did you get from there to over to television, over to, I believe the first TV show was Blossom, I want to say?
Yes, it was.
My God.
Whoa. I played Joey's girlfriend, who was, so I started studying outside the school in junior high, taking classes and things. And then I started to study more seriously in 9th grade. And that was really when I knew that's what I wanted to do with my life, to the great dismay of my father, who wanted me to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. When I graduated from high school, I got a manager and an agent in high school. And I grew up on Long Island, and so I would take the train into the city to go to auditions. At that time it was like for tampon commercials and after school specials, and then I went to an acting studio full time, to the Chekhov studio. And then I went to the New School for Social Research to Eugene Lyon College undergrad, and studied there and got an agent, and that's how it all started. I got a real agent, like a serious agent, from doing this off-Broadway show that I had co-written
Whoa.
at La Mama, at the theater La Mama, which is in the East Village of Manhattan. And it was one of these avant-garde but very well-respected small theaters.
I know exactly that theater, of course. I did Suburbia off Broadway in back in 99, 2000. First off Broadway production of Eric Bogosian's Suburbia.
I have a really unbelievable story right now about Suburbia.
No way.
You mean when Robert Falls directed it?
No, this was not that. This was. This was at the 3rd Street Theater on the Lower East Side. But I know about that. I know exactly. What that is.
Because I was wildly disappointed. Like I almost threw myself in front of a moving car when I didn't get that play. I thought for sure it was like my first big disappointment. after however many auditions and not getting jobs for various things, but that play at Lincoln Center, and I was convinced that I had the role, and I was called back so many times, and I was ecstatic. Like this is it. This is the beginning for me.
Which role?
And then they gave it to Martha Plimpton. Who wasn't even there, who wasn't even at any of the auditions. And I went, what? Well, I was so devastated. God. And I met her years later, and I was like, oh, you're lovely.
Yeah, no, she's very sweet. And Steve Zahn was in that production.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And Stephen was on Broadway, originated a role, and then they fired him.
That is very true.
Recast everybody.
No, I was Shrek in Shrek the Musical on Broadway for all the workshops and readings right up until about 3 months before it opened on Broadway. And
stop it. Are you kidding me?
Me and the donkey and the dragon, the three of us were all fired
on New Year's Eve.
Literally on New Year's Eve, right before it opened, and replaced with like big giant, Super Tony winning monster people.
Right. They're like, thank you so much for developing this and really showing us who this character is. Right. And now you're fired.
Yeah. I did
get. At least they did it New Year's Eve.
I did. I got very lucky.
Your year that way.
Yeah. We did get lucky though, because we got royalties on the show for our work on it. So.
Oh, you're kidding. Yeah, well, that's kind of a nice.
Yeah, it was because it was DreamWorks and they had never done a Broadway show, so they didn't know that you're not supposed to do that, basically.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Yeah, so
you're kidding. Yeah,
they've never done a Broadway show again. I'm pretty sure that's why.
Yeah, they're like, God, I knew this was expensive, but wow, making a Broadway show, I just don't know where the money goes.
Yeah. It's so crazy. So it's cool. Have you had any run-ins with Mayim Bialik? Because I know that you guys we're all at the same PR company with
yes.
Icon,
so I haven't as of yet, but I am fairly certain that I will. But I remember her. I had just finished college when I got that show, and I was so impressed with her. She was just so smart and so down to earth, and she just said to me from the beginning, so tell me about college. Now, what, she was having this real moment of, am I going to go to college? That's what I want to do, but people are telling me not to. We had this very genuine chat. She was like 17. And I said, yes, you should definitely go to college.
Yeah. But then she got a PhD in neuroscience or something, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, well, no, you don't have to go that far. You don't have to become a rocket scientist. But I really liked her so much. So hopefully I will. I would love to.
No, you should take all the credit for her getting that degree. Be like, I told her what she had to do.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm going to start. Yeah, that's going to be my go-to story.
That's the story now.
How I told Mayim Bialik to get an education.
Okay, so you have to tell us about Clueless. You have to tell us about what the casting process was like, how you ended up getting it. You got to give us some
for-
insight because people fucking love that movie.
I remember
People
seeing it in
will
I remember
not
when I
let
saw
go
it.
of
Yeah.
this movie.
I know it's really you know what?
I watched the movie in the theater. I watched every episode of the TV series when that was on.
She was on every episode.
Yeah.
I love that you did.
Yeah.
I loved the TV show. We had such a good time.
Like, it
and
was-
I just feel like it got a little bit of a bad rap, but
I think it was still a good
thought
show.
the show was really fun.
It had the right
it was really
note,
fun.
and it was a lot of fun. And they had enough of the same people. I mean, they recast Cher, but I mean,
Yes.
you know, you and Stacey Dash and whatever. And it was good. So,
And Donald and
Donald,
it was.
yeah.
We had a good time. The casting of that movie, is that what you said?
Yeah, just
what
how,
you wanna,
how did you end up in the
I mean,
film? What was it? And then what was it like?
That was, again, I started from the very first audition with probably the casting assistant, I think it was. And then Marsha Ross, she was the casting director. And I remember reading for her. And then I went back to read for her again, I think, with maybe Twink Kaplan was there. I mean, I had at least 4 or 5 auditions for that film. And then the last one being, I think they had said, and then at one point they said, it's not going any further. And I was so upset because I felt like it had gone so well. And, I'm like, here we go with Suburbia all over again. But, then I got a call to come back again. And I went to Scott Rudin's office, which that was the first time I had been in the Paramount lot. It was like, talk about the kind of iconic moment of stars in your eyes, like driving onto that lot. And it's so old Hollywood. And I was like petrified. I literally think like my knees were knocking together. I was so nervous. And I read for Scott and Amy and Twink. And then I got on an airplane to go visit my parents. And they had just moved to North Carolina from my childhood home on Long Island. And then I found out I got the job.
Wow.
And I was like beside myself. I mean, I was and I was late. I just remember this. My first day of work, I had only lived in LA a couple of months, I think 2 months, I want to say maybe, or 2 or 3 months. And I had gotten Blossom right away. And then they wrote me into another couple of episodes. And then I got Clueless, and it felt like all of this, great momentum. But I was living at my friend's apartment, my friend Jennifer, and I didn't have a bed. I think I was like on some mattress on the floor, I didn't have a real alarm clock. I had this travel digital clock like that my dad had from, it's like the businessman, travel alarm clock from the 80s or something.
This is starting to sound like the Seinfeld episode where the marathon runner missed the marathon because his alarm clock didn't work. And
this is pretty much what happened. And this little tiny thing, and I was so nervous that I was having a hard time falling asleep anyway, because, before your first day on set. And I woke up at my call time, and we were shooting, which was 5:45. We were shooting all the way in the valley. My friend's apartment was on Olympic and Pico.
Oh,
and
shit.
I was beside myself. I could not. I nearly had a heart attack.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to set, it was probably, I don't even think I took a shower. I think I just bolted out of there. And the first person I see when I get out of my car is Scott Rudin. And I was like, oh, good morning, sir. Good morning. And he wasn't looking at the call sheet. He didn't know that. I don't think he knew I was late, but I thought for sure I am fired. My career is over before it has even begun. And then from then on, I have never been late. I think that is what gave me some.
Do you own
massive
7
anxiety.
alarm clocks now?
Yes.
For every job.
And I show up before transpo most of the time. I'm like, I'm good, just whenever you're ready, open it up.
That is such a visceral feeling to hearing you talk about it. I'm like, just that
right?
the drive in your stomach and everything just feels this horrible tension of I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna be fired. It's already over, and you're texting, you're trying to call them to let them know that you're gonna be late, or even before before everyone had cell phones.
Before,
oh my
yes,
God.
it was.
Oh my
it was.
God.
That was exactly. It was awful. It was the longest drive of my life. I really, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Yep.
90210, you do you go on Beverly Hills 90210.
Well, real quick before that,
wait.
you did an episode of Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas?
What? Oh my God! Really?
That's a yes.
Are you? I remember someone coming up to me, a friend, like somebody who was in the business. He was a producer or something, and he was a friend of mine. And I said, "Should I do this show?" Or I had just said yes, maybe. And I remember the friend saying, you really shouldn't do too many things like this. So you should." And I was like, oh. My agents sort of felt the same, but I was like, I want to work. Yeah, that was bizarre. I don't even know how to explain that experience, except that I took it so seriously. And Max Gale played my dad. You know who Max Gale?
Oh, yeah.
He from Barney Miller, and he's a great comedic actor. He played my dad. So he and I were like the sole people going, we are making a television show here. Like we are actors. We're supposed to be doing something that it was so weird. Like it was the kind of show where people had, their lines taped to the, taped in front of them like cue cards, and
wow.
It was a trip.
They just tape it to somebody else's mullet on that show.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember I think I was like tied up. I was held hostage or something. I don't remember. Yeah, I was like a cool, like a cute mechanic.
Yeah,
the
episode is called
placed dirt on my face with a lot of makeup.
The episode is called "The Ballad of D.B. Cooper."
Oh, wow.
Which now I'm fascinated because
yes.
D.B. Cooper is a fascinating story, but I don't think it was about the real D.B. Cooper. So
no, so I think that Max Gale was maybe supposed to be D.B. Cooper.
Oh, really?
Or something like that.
Sense.
Yeah, there was something.
Okay.
And then I was kidnapped, or I just remember there was two things. One, I had to drive a gigantic truck, like a tow truck for some reason. I, first of all, did not know how to drive a stick. Second of all, my feet did not reach the pedals. So there was like a crew guy inside doing, it was outrageous. And then I also remember being tied up or like with tape across my mouth in the front seat of a car. And, with the actors having their lines, their mini sides taped. I'm
gonna go try to look this up now on like Peacock or Tubi or whatever they stream.
Well, Matt,
Renegade
another thing you might want to look up is Justice League.
Oh,
yeah,
hell yes.
All right, so are you in the Snyder Cut? Is that what we're finding out?
is that what the credit is?
Wait, am I what?
You were in Justice League of America, the animated film.
That's what it is. Live action.
It was live action. So
what?
In 1997.
You stop. You shut your mouth. What?
Wait a minute. Yes. I forgot
She's like, it's coming back to me.
Oh my God! What?
We shot on like I was somebody's wife. I wasn't anybody fun. I wasn't one of the
You didn't have
superheroes.
powers. Okay.
I was somebody's wife. I had no powers.
I wasn't anybody fun.
You were like the Flash's wife or something.
Yeah, I was the wife who was like, honey, why are you always leaving so early in the morning? Like, where do you go at night? That was kind of.
He's like, I'm Batman.
I think that didn't go. It was a pilot, right? I think it was a pilot.
It did not last. Yeah.
It didn't go, but boy, there's some fun pictures from that production.
David Krumholtz was in that too.
Yeah.
There was a great cast, and Michelle Hurd was in it.
Yeah.
John. There were some great people in it. I remember.
Yeah, David Ogden Stiers, a lot of.
Oh yeah.
What's fun about a career like yours is that like you have done repeatedly like amazing work in amazing films and all sorts of great stuff. But you've also been in some things like that where you're like oh, like that's part of the journey of an actress or an actor in Hollywood is like you end up sometimes in things that are a little weird or a little like maybe never went, like.
But I don't think it works against
you.
you.
Wish,
no, it's fun.
Or things that you wish never went, or that you wish
Right.
people would not talk about. But even those projects, which I won't name them because the last thing I want is you guys going out and finding them, is some, like, I think of this one film in particular, and I met one of my dearest and closest friends shooting this film, and I never would have. I mean, you could argue we would have crossed paths in another way somehow, sure.
Was it
But we
Encino
bonded
Woman?
because no, that was actually really fun.
Okay.
That was actually fun.
Okay, good.
But also equally, it was essentially the female version of Encino Man.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
was. Yeah. No, this movie. No, I'm not telling you what it is, but
No, it's
but
fine.
it wasn't that. But
We only brought that up because our friend Rick Overton, who's been on our show, was in that with
oh,
you.
I loved Rick.
Yeah.
He was hilarious.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
great.
I feel like we worked together in Encino Woman. I feel like we had scenes together. I don't remember a lot of that. That was so early. That was one of the first things I did too when I got out to LA. But I feel like he and I had actual scenes together. Like we had worked together, but I can't remember what the story was.
I got a question for you about doing Beverly Hills 90210 because when you went on to that show, the show had already been on for 5 years. So
Right.
if things were already pretty established, what is it like joining a cast and coming in to do 4 or 5 episodes, 6 episodes, somewhere like this? What's it like to step into a show that's already like a moving train and have to try to become part of
Right.
it quickly?
It was, I will say, hands down, one of the nicest people that I have ever worked with and come across in this industry is Jason Priestley. He is like a dream. He's incredibly kind. He's very funny. And all of my whole storyline was mainly with him and Tiffany Thiessen. I played her friend, but I had to like be in bed with Jason on the first day. Like the very first shot of the first day is like, okay, so you're wrapped in a blanket and, getting out of bed with Jason. I was like, okay, this is going to be great. And he was so nice to me. Like the very first day came, and I think I had met him in the audition process because he was a producer at that point. But he was super nice and made me feel really comfortable. And I think because he was kind of the captain of the ship there, everybody else was super nice to me too. It was a really great experience because those things I know can be terrible, especially a show with a lot of women on it that can be competitive with each other. There are a host of ways that could have been not fun, and it really was. Like I loved it, but they was so established. They all knew, they could do it in their sleep. They knew who. I mean, they just were so, and they all knew each other so well.
I love
And
that.
that it was like I loved it.
I can second you on Jason Priestley. I went to a party at Tara Strong's house one time. Bragging.
I know Tara.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh,
I know
she's
Tara
the
because
sweetest.
of Melissa Joan Hart, because she was on Sabrina, or she did one of the Sabrina movies or something. And so then we were all at Comic-Con together, or I'm not even sure. And then she is very good friends with another friend of mine, Adam Carl. So there are all these kinds of connections. At any rate, so you were at a party with Tara.
It was a like a fundraiser and thing at her house, and they had Will from Will and Grace was singing at the piano. Eric McCormick, and I was like, "What is this amazing party?" And I was just kind of standing in the back, and Jason Priestley was like nearby, and I was like, what is happening right now? This is crazy, huh? And he was so friendly, like overly nice, and I was like, oh my god, I just want to marry you.
He's like the greatest guy. My husband said before we were married, we were planning our wedding, and he knows, like, Jason and I keep in touch and, email once in a while or text. And my husband knew that. And he's like, are you going to, maybe Jason should come to the wedding. And I was like, well, we're having this isn't like a big, huge wedding, and we're not that good of friends. And he's like, well, no, you should really invite him. And I said, you're getting weird now about this. And he's like, well, no, maybe. He's like, should I ask him to be in the wedding party? And I was like, are you out of your mind? Like, what is he, like, I have a lot of celebrity friends, but he's got his own, he was such a 90210 fan that it was like borderline creepy. And I was like, you really want Jason to be your friend, don't you? Like, you want him to be your buddy. And he's like, I do. I want him to be my friend.
Oh my God.
Honey, keep an open mind, but what if all three of us got married?
He's like, keep an open mind. He could be the best man. I feel like you would have to meet him first in order to have that be part
Do you ever feel like
I'm already convinced he's the best man.
now? Have you considered the possibility that maybe he married you just to get to Jason Priestley?
See,
Is that possible?
I actually have considered that possibility. I have.
Oh my God. Hey, Matt, before we continue doing the show, we got to talk about what we're talking into.
These Sennheiser microphones are fantastic.
Yeah, they are literally top of the line. The best company in the world when it comes to microphones, headphones, audio equipment like this. I mean, it's just so damn good.
If you want to sound good talking into something, get yourself some Sennheiser microphones.
Yeah, it makes you sound epic. Mike Black, say something epic.
Space, the final frontier.
Bum, bum, bum,
These are the voyages. If I say any more, lawyers will get involved. We have to.
Exactly.
But I said it clearly, and you could hear it clearly.
God, I can hear it. It sounds perfect. Hey, go check out Sennheiser. If you are looking for audio equipment, you're looking for a great microphone, this is the one to use. Mike, Matt, what's this one called that we're using?
This is the MD42.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect.
Find them at Sennheiser.com.
You bet. All right, let's get back to the show. Now, you mentioned Sabrina. You mentioned Melissa Joan Hart, and you worked with her for, I believe, 55 episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That show also just a badass show, man.
Yeah.
Super iconic.
I know. I feel like I have been very fortunate in that way that these pop culture phenomenons kind of. I don't know how, you just get lucky sometimes.
So I have a question about that show.
Yes.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, you're an incredible actress. That's how it happens.
How is it to work with a cat?
I was going to ask about, is Nick Bakay on the set? Like, is he just on the side saying the words? Or, like, how did they pull that off?
So he apparently, the years before I was there, he would be on set all the time.
Uh-huh.
But then what show? He had started writing another series.
He created another show around the same time, yeah.
Yes. So he was no longer able to do that, and he did all of his stuff in voiceover. But they would have, someone else read his lines. He's another one, could not be lovelier. Like, he's just like a phenomenal human, as is Melissa. It really, again, like, these things could go so sideways.
He went to go do King of Queens. So.
Oh, was it King of Queens?
Yeah, because that started around that same time.
Right,
118 episodes where he was a producer, and then
Yep.
he's currently doing Mom and Bob Hearts Abishola and all kinds of stuff. He's had a great career.
We just went to go. I shadowed Melissa. She's directing Young Sheldon, and we hunted Nick down because his office was around the corner. So we kept going, and we kept missing. We did eventually find him, but we would leave pictures. Take pictures of ourselves and put them on his wall. We're coming to find you. And then eventually we do. Yeah,
that's so fun.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God.
So you still hang out with Melissa and stuff like that, or?
Yes, I would say. Yeah, so have you guys heard? I mean, of course you have. But are you on Clubhouse? This,
we just had a discussion about it today.
We were just talking on the drive over here about it. Just going,
about how exhausted you are by one more thing this that you have to do.
I was pointing out. I was pointing out. I thought the whole point of social media was so you don't have to talk to people. You could just post your stuff online and leave it alone.
I kind of feel like it's kind of like masterclass for people who don't want to pay for masterclass. Yeah. That's what it seems to feel like. I can't figure it out.
It's supposed to be informational. Is that what it is?
It's like people going on and giving talks.
We got rid of party lines for a reason. Like, why are we bringing them back? Like, it's.
So
this is probably why my friend Julie Benz, actress.
Yeah, great.
A couple people had invited me over the past month or whatever, however long this thing's been going, and I was like, I just can't do another thing. No, no. Like, I didn't know what it was. And then Julie the other night just texted me. She's like, I don't know what this is either, but you should do it. And also, I'm, maybe we'll figure it out together kind of thing. And I was like, well, I don't know. And so then I signed up for it. Mm-hmm. And then yesterday, Melissa's like, hey guys, let's get on Clubhouse and do a thing. And I thought, God, I got suckered into it. Like, now I'm in it. I'm in it. Man. And now we're having a chat today. But what is so hilarious is we had this text going this morning trying to plan this chat, and someone's going to explain it to us. And I am honestly going, guys, I don't even understand what you're talking about. Are we going to have a talk? Is it going to be like we're just having a conversation and people are listening to it? Like, what? I still don't know. It's
You've
still
given
a mystery,
yourself
but
a new
it's
job
happening today.
You gave yourself a job.
Want another job.
You have plenty of jobs. You're fine. You don't. You have a lot of golden retrievers to look after. Apparently,
I mean, it's really just too much.
I'm on Clubhouse. Yeah, but at what cost?
Oh, but what I was going to say that I forgot, I got. Yeah. Please. Sidetracked, as Julie said, she's like, I don't know what this is all about, but I really love listening to you talk, so let's do it. And I thought, wait, what does that mean? Does that mean that is it a talk show? And then I'm going, wait, do I talk all the time? Do I talk too much? Like, I don't know what.
I think it's kind of like a live podcast, basically. I think that's basically what they're trying to do.
But
okay,
the whole point of podcasts is you can listen whenever you want. You don't have to be there at a certain time. I don't get it. It's a whole thing. I don't understand why anybody wants to do it.
And a live podcast couldn't possibly backfire on celebrities.
Yes. Right. That couldn't possibly go awry. No, it'll be so seamless.
I'm just waiting for the Clubhouse cancellations. That's going to be a fun one to watch on social media. You're like, okay.
You're kicked
not
out
supposed
of
to say that anymore.
I just love how malleable I am, because clearly when my friend Bronwyn invited me maybe a month a while ago, like at the very beginning of it, and I said, no, I can't. And now a month later already, I'm like, I'm doing a chat at 3 o'clock on Clubhouse, and I don't even know what it is. Like, what is wrong with me?
I did the same thing with TikTok. I got asked to join TikTok a million times, and I kept saying, I'm 40 years old. No one wants a fat, bald 40-year-old on TikTok. Like, so boring.
And now you have 1 million followers.
1.3 million followers.
Turns out that's exactly what TikTok wanted.
You bet your ass. It's exactly what they wanted. Me doing the WAP dance is what they wanted.
Wait, so another friend told me I had to get on TikTok also. So
yes. Oh my God. You have to.
But I don't do anything. I took one video and then I think I took it down. I don't know. I think it's up there.
It might still be up.
It might still be up. Maybe I just feel like, oh my goodness.
Right. I know. It's like, how many things do we have to be on? But I'll tell you what, your fans are there. I promise you they are there, because I see Clueless stuff. I see Sabrina stuff. I see stuff like all the time that is like, I've seen memes of you pop up on there plenty of times. Like, people dress up as those characters. They do lip sync to
there's a lot of
from
Clueless
it.
content on TikTok.
Oh my God, so much. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And to be the first cast member from it, from a thing, to be on there, that's where things go crazy, because they're like, oh my God, we got you. Do you think maybe we could get phase on?
But
do you think
what
we
do
get
I do?
Then you just go.
What do I do? I just go.
The
hi?
easiest thing to do on TikTok to create content, I'm going to tell you right now.
Q&A.
You go on there, and then you go to the little 3 dots at the top right hand corner, and you go down to a thing that says Q&A. And you add Q&A to your profile, and you let people leave questions for you.
Ask questions.
Yeah, and then before you know it, you got like 100 questions,
oh, that's
200
great.
questions, and then you just answer them with video. And it puts their little question into the picture.
I'm going to look that up right now. Oh, you know what? I already deleted my account.
Oh,
so I'm going to have to open it up again.
I will help you. I will help you do the TikToks. Anything you need. I really want to talk with you about something that is, I know, a big part of your life is this book that you wrote that's coming out. Can we talk about this a little bit and kind of what's happening here?
So the book is called Wake Me When You Leave, and it comes out June 8th of this year. And it is a memoir about losing my dad to cancer and how it changed my life and my career. And he came to me in dreams and these sort of otherworldly experiences that helped me to really heal, and it changed my life. So it's you know, I make no say it's no exaggeration for me to say this is kind of my life's work. It's been something I've been working on for quite a while, and I'm super excited. And we have the film is also in development that I wrote and will be directing.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it's kind of I'm really, really excited about it. And I will say that it's been so bizarre too. The film has been in development a couple of years, and we've been trying to, you know, the independent film, we had the financing, we lost it, we had it, we lost it, and it kind of, you know, we're back in a good place again, we think, especially the book coming out helps with that. But I had almost gotten a book deal a while back, and it didn't happen. And then right as, no exaggeration, as the shutdown began, like the day after, I live in San Francisco, and the day after San Francisco went into shelter in place last March, the book deal came through.
Wow.
And so we had this, and I was thinking to myself, which I think a lot of people were at that time, that, oh, this is going to be a couple of weeks, the shutdown, and then we're going to be back to normal.
Right.
So I thought, okay, my daughter's going to be home for 2 weeks. My husband's working from home. It's going to be a little, you know, hectic, but sure, a June 15th deadline for the first draft. You know, I had written obviously almost, you know, the first draft that was submitted to get the deal in the first place, but there's a lot of, you know, huge revisions that were going to happen, and I thought, oh, that's fine, you know, if I can't work for 2 weeks, it's okay. And then slowly but surely it was like, oh, this is never ending, and I have to figure out how to write now, like in my closet. You know, we live in a city. My husband's in the guest room. My daughter's homeschooling in her bedroom. I used to write, you know, in the dining room or in the back. I honestly had to take our laundry room, and which is sort of my husband's closet, and turn it into this office. It was like an absurd. It has been the most bizarre time.
So it's like you're living Tetris.
Yes. And then my husband works market hours. He works in finance. And so on the weekends, I would have the weekends to work, right? Mm-hmm. So Saturday and Sunday were my days where I got to actually work in the guest room, where we had put in a standing desk and all of this other stuff because of the pandemic. And my daughter, I have an 8-year-old daughter, from 8:30 in the morning, she would come into the room screaming and crying, and she would say things like, I just can't live with him, about my husband.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm like, Scarlett, I know it's hard, but you're gonna have to. And you know, it's just been this chaotic, bizarre experience. But you know, we all do what we have to do, and I somehow have met all the deadlines, and I mean, wow. That's it. I got the galley last week, and I just have to approve it, and then it's, you know, it's coming out.
That is so incredible. I'm so happy for you, and the book sounds so moving and like such a beautiful piece of work, and I'm sure the film will be really, really incredible.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I hope that you know, it's really about kind of literally losing everything to figure out who you are. You know, my dad died, the relationship I was in ended. I was on Sabrina's canceled, and I had tested for, I'm not exaggerating, I think 10 pilots, and did not get a job, and all of these things happened at one time. So God. I like, all of my footing was taken away, my whole identity, and it was a real shit show. And so but it's like those are what spiritual experiences are made of, and it totally changed my life without a doubt. And I believe it's a really hopeful book, and I hope that people find some hope and some peace from it, because there are a lot of people grieving right now, which is what's also bizarre. Yeah. To feel like there's been so much loss in so many ways with the pandemic and everything else, that it's I really want it to help people.
I love it. I mean,
I'm hopeful that it will.
This isn't your first time writing either. I mean, you wrote for Chicken Soup for the Soul, I believe, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, and I've written. I wrote a blog for People for a couple of years, for People magazine. And I mean, I was a writing major in college, a writing and acting major. So this has always been a part of me. So I'm really excited to have this finally come to fruition, and then hopefully write another book, because I really love the process. I mean, if I could do it under the circumstances that we have been in the past year, I feel like I could do anything. I could write anywhere.
Downtown Detroit. And you're just banging away on your novel.
Exactly.
I love it. Hey, before we continue doing the show, we got to talk about the equipment that we're using to make the show. Make an epic show that is, it sounds like, everyone is right here. Like we're all sitting together, but we're not.
We've got a fantastic multi-track recorder from Zoom. If you need multi-track recordings, that's the only company you should even be looking at. Basically, we had issues when we had to switch to doing things during a pandemic. And we went from doing a show with people in person to people over the phone, and Zoom just made it a piece of cake. Yeah,
you bet. ZoomCorp.com is the website, and this has made it so that we could interview people in Nigeria,
New Zealand,
Guatemala, Austria, the Czech Republic. When we were
Are
doing
you just
all
naming
those
countries now?
Yeah, well, no. When we were doing all the interviews with the cast of 90 Day Fiancé, we were talking to people, in the Ukraine. We were doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And then just the other day when we had John Rhys Davies on the show
from New Zealand,
he was in New Zealand the whole time.
Sounded
it sounded
like
he was sitting in the room with us.
Yeah.
It truly is the mark of excellence for podcasting. Zoom Live Track L8 8-track mixer recorder, the board for creators, podcasting, music, and beyond.
Yeah, it is a badass system, and we're very lucky to be working with Zoom. Go check out ZoomCorp.com. That's ZoomCorp.com. Zoom, you have to say it 3 times. That's what people do in ads, right? Zoom,
what is it, Stephen?
ZoomCorp.com. It's ZoomCorp.com. We're talking about ZoomCorp.com. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, we do need to wrap up, but before we wrap up, I do want to ask you something that I am dying to know about. People always say, working with children, working with dogs, working with animals on sets, very tricky. You have
you've been in a bunch of those dogs.
Man, you well, not only that, you're a character. You're Belinda Bannister from literally piles. I can use that. I've never used that word before to describe movies. Piles of movies where it's you and the dog who saved Christmas.
He saves every holiday. Imagine
this dog is saving a lot of things.
Has he saved Arbor Day yet? We're getting to Arbor Day.
This dog is so busy. Busy, this dog. I mean, how have we reached the end of this interview and we are just getting to the dog movies? I do not know.
God.
That dog has saved, and a little insider info, one of the worst trained dogs that ever. I mean, we laughed so hard. Gary Valentine, who plays my husband, I would work with that guy in a heartbeat. I just adore him. And we get the giggles. One of my favorite parts of those movies is the outtakes that they started putting at the end of them now. There are times when
that's
the
great.
tears when you're laughing so hard that you cannot. I have really laughed a lot in those movies, and I did one pregnant with my daughter. That Dog Saved Christmas, Christmas Vacation, Easter, Halloween, the holidays, because they realize that if you keep it around Christmas, more people watch it. But then you exhaust, how many titles can you have? So it's The Dog Who Saved Christmas. Then I think there's
the Dog
holidays.
Who Saved
We're gonna get
Christmas.
Christmas
Let's do the list.
Vacation.
Now wait,
Let's do the list.
you know that at least one producer was thinking, what about the dog that saved the baby? Maybe the dog could deliver.
Yes, maybe the dog could deliver.
The
it's-
Dog Who
yeah,
Saved
there's
the
happy.
Baby.
Like if they're around Christmas, before long, it'll be like The Dog Who Saved Saturnalia.
Yeah. The Dog Who Saved La Posada. The Dog Who Saved Kwanzaa. The Pitbull that saved Hanukkah. The day that Pitbull saved Hanukkah. There's the Dog Who Saved Christmas. There's A Golden Christmas. There's the Dog Who Saved Christmas Vacation. There's the Dog Who Saved Halloween.
That's one of my faves.
Then there's Spooky Buddies, different franchise. Then there's 12 Wishes of Christmas. Then we've
Also
got
different franchise.
different
There
franchise.
is a dog in that movie.
There's a dog.
Also, there is a dog in that movie.
Then there's the Dog Who Saved the Holidays. Now we're getting kind of politically correct with the Dog Who Saved the Holidays. Then they're like, fuck that, we're going back. The Dog Who Saved Easter.
Yep.
And then they're like too specific, and then they made the Dog Who Saved Summer.
Yeah.
So they're just like a whole season. They're like, this dog.
I want him to go
My
sci-fi,
mom-
the dog that saved Mars.
Yeah, there we go. We will write that movie for you if you will be in the Dog Who Saved Mars, because
I will be in any movie with dogs
We should just
and
get,
children.
like,
I will take that bullet. You know who plays my mom in all those films? Mindy Sterling.
Oh, we love Mindy
What?
Sterling.
oh, she's been on our show
plays
numerous
my mom.
times.
I
Yeah.
know she has. I
God,
know
I
she
love her.
has.
Yeah.
She's
And
so
I'm
great.
shocked that she never talks about the dog movies.
Oh, man.
Why doesn't she ever talk about those?
Steven, let's write a movie that ties it all together. The dog that saved Lorenzo Lamas.
There we go. The renegade dog that saved Lorenzo Lamas. That is the
If
movie.
anybody needs saving, it might be Lorenzo Lamas.
Oh, man. It's so good. So good.
To the typewriter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on the socials? I know that we mentioned.
So what's
there
your
are
Clubhouse
socials.
account? Where do people find your
What's my
Clubhouse?
If I knew how to find my Clubhouse account, I would share that with you. My Instagram and my Twitter are both at Red Donovan, and they're both there. And Facebook is Elisa Donovan. Does anybody go on Facebook anymore? I feel like that's where I have the most followers, so I hope people do.
We do.
There's at least 6 people are still going.
At least 6 people, and my mom. I know my mom.
Everyone's
comments
mom
on my
is going.
Steven just posted an embarrassing story about me on Facebook today.
I did.
So
I did.
Facebook
I will.
exists.
I'll read you what I posted about Matt Walker. This is 100% true. Matt
Yeah.
Walker, our producer of the show, one of my dearest friends in the world, said to me today that he once took a bus to Las Vegas using a Groupon, and that is where he watched a movie called Twilight 2. That is the saddest statement any grown man has ever said in history. I took a bus
That
to
is-
Vegas and watched Twilight on the bus.
It
Just-
was
on a Groupon.
Yeah.
just
on a
end it.
Groupon.
End it all. Just fucking end it.
Was it a hit on the bus, Matt? Were the other people into it?
I wasn't the one who put the movie on. The movie was on those little screens, the
And it was
2-inch
in
TV
Spanish.
screens.
The
I'd like to
whole
think
time.
some teenage girl fielded questions at the beginning. Like, if anyone has any questions,
Wait, I thought you meant you took a bus to Vegas to see the movie.
Oh,
No,
No,
no.
he watched it
God, that'd be
on
even
the
worse.
bus.
No, I saw it on
You
the
watched
bus.
it on the bus.
Yeah.
on the hot, sweaty
That
bus.
is worse. I'm not sure which is
he
worse.
had to see it so badly that he hopped on a bus to Vegas.
Oh, this is all kinds of
To
bad
catch
news.
the midnight show. Yeah.
Well, you are an amazing person, and we adore you so much. Thank you for doing this. And
Thank you.
big.
You guys are super fun.
Thank you.
What a fun half hour I've had in my car.
Oh,
in my pod of quiet.
Yes.
I love it. All right. Mike Black, where can people find you?
At Mike Black Attack on all social media except Clubhouse. I have not yet been invited.
I'll invite you, buddy. Matt Walker, where can people get you?
There are links to everything at funnymat.com, or if you're upset by me in any way, as many people on Twitter are today, let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
Yep, and people do that. You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman, on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on TikTok. I'm Stephen K. Glickman. This has been an absolute honor. We adore you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the day, guys.
You too. Stay safe out there.